See what happens. If someone would like to get us started just by quickly introducing yourself, um, who you are, where you're from, and what you do, that would be a great way to start.
Sure, I'll kick us off.
Cool.
Gary Darley, I am in the Spokane, Washington area, and I work in personal finance and retirement solutions.
Welcome back, Gary. All right, who's next?
Hello, everyone. Sorry, my webcam is not working. I tried to get it working before this meeting. It's not working. But anyway, my name is Rishi Prasanna. I'm the founder of Chess Theory, the world's first decision-based learning app for chess players worldwide. We have a working MVP, and we're currently working to get our first funding check from a traditional, or sorry, an alternative VC such as IndieVC and people like Bryce Roberts, Francis Santora, etc.
Awesome. Welcome. Did you say where you're from?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. Yeah, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, California.
Awesome. We're
Yeah.
glad to have you. Lorraine, if you could just either pop on camera or give us a shout hello, that would be great. Hi, thank you.
Hi, sorry.
No
I'm Lorraine,
worries.
Lorraine Weatherly, founder of Ledger Point Financial. I just started my business in May. So it's a bookkeeping and financial services firm that helps small businesses, nonprofits, and small organizations just kind of help with their finances and stuff like that. So I'm glad to be here.
Awesome.
It's the first time. So
Glad to have
thank
you.
you.
Where are you from?
I am from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Awesome. Awesome to have you also.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Esther?
Hi everyone. I'm Esther and I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm the founder of Dasa VA Services. It's a virtual assistant and automation agency. So basically we just provide support to business owners, consultants, coaches, making sure that their business runs smoothly and they are able to focus on what they are supposed to do. It's nice to meet everyone.
Great to have you. Sorry, the thunder is cracking right out of my window. It scared me. Nate, you're up. Welcome.
My turn already. What's up, everybody? My name is Nate Dubois. I'm the founder of Legend Initiative. We shape perception and build brands that transcend culture. So if you want to become a legend, we're the team that you want to work with.
Good to have you, as always. Um, I'm just turning the volume up. I'm Abigail, your host. Um, Full charge CFO and founder of the business Kickstart Accelerator. I platform for new and aspiring entrepreneurs to come learn the basics of business finance and build a network. We've got some more people joining, so I'm gonna let them in. Lavinia, we're gonna throw you right on the spot. Well, Kenny's coming now. He'll save you. Quick introductions, if you would, who you are, where you're from, and what you do. And Kenny, I'm throwing you under the bus.
No, that's fine. No worry. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Nice to see everyone. My name is Kenny, calling from Waterbury, Connecticut. So picture this, right? If your business was a movie, you could consider me your partner in production, right? So my company, Atlas Studios, deals with three areas, right? That would be branding, marketing, and development, right? So we work with growth-minded entrepreneurs to, one, execute their vision, two, help it become a reality, and three, help maintain that for the long-term picture. So yeah, if you can imagine it, we'll do the rest.
Welcome back. Kenny. Lavinia, if I could if you don't want to introduce yourself, totally fine, but if you could pop on and just confirm your human, that would be cool. We would also love to hear about you. Hi.
Hi there. I'm an acting coach and a life coach. So I work with people who I work with creative people and do life coaching, and I also do acting coaching. And I basically transform people's lives.
Awesome. Where are you from?
I'm on the west coast of Canada.
Awesome. Welcome. Glad to have everybody. Um, we do things a little differently in this group. So that was your opportunity to have your pitch, if you will. And then in the month of August, we're just doing a general workshop. If anybody needs help or feedback with product or service in any way, marketing, development, whatever you have, please feel free to share and we would love to help you work through it.
I low-key like the conversation we had last week with the website and messaging in a sense. Then we should
Yeah,
shop some positioning. I think
yeah,
that's most of the thing that we covered this month was mostly had to do with positioning, right? Pricing, website copy, all that, even social media ads. I think a lot of that had to do with positioning. So
yeah. We had a great chat about ads last week. And after everybody signed up, Gary, Nate, and I were talking website stuff. Gary, how's your website?
I haven't touched it since last week. It's the same.
Me neither. I have a tax extension deadline on the 15th for S Corps and C Corps. And then for 2025, and then personal partnerships too on the 15th of September, and then all flow through personal returns and single member LLCs on October 15th. And I've had probably, well, probably 5 clients that are just like have popped out of the woodwork. Like they either closed or sold, but they had, lingering transactions or revenue from the sale of the asset that have to be reported. It's been a crazy couple of days.
I did see the content you posted, tax jail on social
Tax
media.
jail? That was for you. There's some people that are gonna be in tax jail. Hopefully that's not anybody here. Everybody filed their 2025 tax returns? Yeah, good.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, Nate.
Nate,
I'm
hold
saying
on.
for everybody. If you haven't followed it, I feel like it's low-key, like you might be in tax jail. You might need Abigail. I
I won't
always
lie,
make
I
sure
was on extension. I just had them done this week.
that it's the tax person herself.
Mm-hmm. Everybody else is more important.
That's how I feel about marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were talking about websites last week. Man, I wish I could have chipped in.
I know, Kenny.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question then on that note, Nate. Are you all we should all reflect. Are you taking your own advice? Are you being your own best client?
Mm. Uh,
So I'll,
yes.
I'll jump in. I am not my own financial advisor. I have one because sometimes I'm too close to see what I don't see, and I need somebody else to kick my own butt for me, even though that's what I do for other people.
Yep.
I
I
think
actually have someone that does my bookkeeping. And it was ready in April.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
important to have like other experts talk to you
Mhm.
about your own stuff. Like whenever I'm thinking of a campaign, I always ask somebody that I know that's also in the industry, like, does this make sense? Especially for like internal campaign, like does this make sense for what we're trying to do? And then like also just having people in your circle that be like, why are you trying to do this? Like just to question you, like, because they know, like, as long as they know your vision and what you want it's easier for them to see if it's aligned rather than what you're doing, right? Because sometimes you're just in the thick of it. Like sometimes I'll think of a campaign and then bring it to one of my friends. They're like, "This doesn't make sense for you. You should do this, 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 this." Actually, matter of fact, let me call somebody else, and then we just start workshopping. Like I think it's important to have that own workshop within your circle.
Yeah. Kenny.
I like the point that Nate brings up, right? And we, all right, so we met the other day, right? We had a coffee chat, and I think this is exactly the reason why it ran so long because we kept bouncing ideas off of each other. Um, so to kind of expand on that, working with your circle, um, the next phase of like Atlas Studios as a company, right, in terms of our expansion, and kind of carving out a bigger piece of the market share is extending ourselves into like the world of streaming. You know what I mean? So we've kind of been tabling the idea of having like Atlas Studio streams, right? Of like projects we're working on, like live, like, how we develop it, kind of how the sausage gets made kind of content, right? And then having that up live on Twitch and then posting the feed on YouTube. And then on top of that, like positioning ourselves with our partners, like people that we work with strategically, so that we can get sponsorships from that as well. Right? Like, hey, brought to you by Atlas Studios, right? Or powered by Atlas Studios. Um, so that's definitely a huge step that we've been taking recently. And again, that's kind of like me trying to be my own best friend, right? Because if I was in my position, right? And where we've kind of got a little bit of history, but then what would be next, right? What is the next phase in adapting to today's culture, today's society, and the digital era, right? And so that was the conclusion I came to. Just embrace the streaming community, embrace the digital age, right? Be on YouTube, be on Kick, be on Twitch, all these different platforms so that we can gain that much more traction.
Is my internet's working okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good.
Yep, you're crisp.
I was thinking also as it related to what Nate said, sometimes like as a service provider or as a coach, I'm using that term like all encompassing to anybody who's serving somebody else, to have somebody like I've been looking at hiring. I recently hired a CPA for my team who has more experience and more credentials than I do. But I've also been considering hiring a CFO for my company. Even though I am a CFO for other people, I'm not looking at my numbers like I look at my clients' numbers objectively. I'm actually like I relate to my clients because sometimes I don't want to look at my bank account or I don't want to look at my revenue or, I have the same problems that I'm solving, but it's much easier for me to solve them for other people. So if I hire a CFO or fractional CFO for myself, it's not, it's not only am I going to face those issues and address them, but I'm also going to learn and be a better service provider to my clients as a result of that. That's been something just in the back of my mind. I haven't pulled the trigger on it because I am growing a lot right now, which would probably be a good reason to hire. But I've been focusing on hiring producers.
I think
Quick. Oh, sorry. Oh, you go ahead.
I think one of the most important hires is somebody that does the same work that you do. That's objective. Like always getting somebody, whether it's in-house or you're outsourcing, getting somebody to actually look at it. Like I remember, like, because I also help different agencies, right? Majority of our money comes from us working with other agencies, getting their positionings for their clients, all this different stuff. Because marketing agencies don't know how to market each other, right? Or they don't know certain positioning, or they don't know how to communicate their brand, right? Marketing people are terrible at marketing themselves naturally, right? So it's always important for, I think that goes across the board, right? Coaches don't know how to coach themselves on how to be a coach, right? The same thing with athletes. We can't teach ourselves a certain move or look at something in this particular light of ourselves, right? You always need that outsourced thing, right? So for CFOs, whether it's financial advisors, even if you're just writing copywriting, right? You might think that the copy that you have is the best for your brand. It might not be, right? So it's always important to get objective, right? Criticism. Also, Kenny, we was on that chat for way, way too long. I was like,
Yeah.
he was there for like 2 hours.
Yeah, I looked at the time, I was like, wow, 2.5 hours, bro. That's crazy.
We,
Could have
we
watched the
we
movie.
looked at each other. We were still, and we had a whole nother conversation we was about to have.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we gotta pick this up another day for sure.
Like, if my baby didn't walk in, it would have been we'd been there for like another hour.
Yeah. Nah, it was dope. It was a dope conversation.
Okay. The thunders keep scaring me and then I mute and then I forgot I've done it. Um, Lavinia, I'm wondering if you have any input on this as a life coach.
Yeah, I guess I was just resonate what Nate was saying was quite resonating a lot because I mean as a coach, you need to have a coach. I'm my own coach. Definitely, I'm my first client, but you really need a coach on top of that. So I always have a coach. Um, I always have a life coach, and I think it's important for everybody. You got to be a product of your product, but sometimes you can't like see through necessarily at your own mistakes or it's just better to talk about it out loud.
I agree with that, having perspective.
Hmm.
Lorraine, how are you doing just launching your business with client acquisition, things like that? How's that working for you? Yeah.
Hmm.
Truthfully, it's been a journey. Um, and the reason why I started this business because I realized being in corporate America, trying to move up in the ladder in the financial industry, sometimes it's a struggle, especially depending on where you at or industry you're in. So launching this business was that push of realizing that I felt like I was capped at where I was at. And then starting it is still kind of rocky. Still trying to get clients, still trying to do marketing. I got my website up. I got different things. Like normally business would start, get started up. You got your EIN, you got, your bank accounts, you got some of your social media platforms. But even then it's still like a struggle. So you're trying to find your niche. You're trying to find what is the best niche to push your product, your services out without sounding redundant, without seeming like, it's just hitting you're just throwing blanks. Um, so client acquisition, like I feel like I'm doing all the right steps, but like you said, positioning myself is another thing. So me trying to find other networks and those to engage with other people, like-minded people who's either in this early stages I am, is kind of seeing where they at, what they're doing. I'm trying to prevent some of the mistakes that some people have already done going down this path. And I don't think it matters what industry or what field you go in. Is I'm just a person that if I can avoid mistakes, if I can avoid some pitfalls, I want to learn from people who've already positioned themselves, went through some of the stages that I'm already going through, and just trying to, like I said, position myself better. But that's all I have.
So 2 weeks ago, as Elijah enters the room, we had a really awesome conversation about choosing your niche. And it is up on Spotify if you want to watch that. Because Elijah, I forget who you were talking to that week, but you were making some really powerful points. And I think we were also talking with someone who was working on like team building and like they lit up talking about teachers and schools, but that wasn't who their target audience was. But as they were talking about it, we were like, why are you going after those people? Like this clearly is what you're super passionate about. So I would urge you to check that conversation out. But also, if anybody has feedback for Lorraine, by all means, send it.
Yeah, I
Thank
was gonna
you.
say. Oh, sorry. I was gonna
I
say.
was just saying thank you.
This is me kind of throwing up a layup, but I think Abigail might be a really great person to talk to, right? Because there is a little bit of overlap. Like you deal with kind of payroll, right? Companies that have employees, and especially organizing their financials, right? Like the bookkeeping aspect. So she would be a great connection for you.
Thank you.
Nate?
Second that. Abigail's always a great connection. Also talk to Kenny. Um, I would say for the most part, like when you talking about not being redundant, I feel like that kind of starts with your story. I think I talked to Gary about that probably a couple months ago, like, and just finding out what your why is. I feel like that is very overlooked when it comes to marketing, when it comes to positioning, when it comes to any sort of leverage, right? That why factor of why are you helping them? Why does it matter, right? When you go into PR, when you go into media and partnerships and trying to form these strategic initiatives that's going to build your business, it's always important. That's always the question that comes up, like why, right? So focus on your why. For now, just narrow it down based off that, right? Why am I doing this? Who do I want to help and why? Just question everything.
I was gonna say something, two things. One, something I'm learning through my marketing journey in life is that being redundant is not a bad thing. And the more you repeat like your mission or your why, the more you narrow it down and the better it gets when you're saying it out loud. A. B. I've told this probably a million times on this platform, but I have a very interesting niche that I serve, cannabis and contractors. And I chose cannabis because I wanted to be part of an emerging industry. And I knew, like graduating college, I knew that someday it was going to be legalized. I mean, there was no evidence to support that at the time, but I had faith. And I moved from North Jersey to Maine, and I met through my Instagram, I met a lawyer serving the community, and she just handed me my business on a silver platter. I connected with the right person, and she sent me client after client after client that she was trying to keep out of like tax trouble or jail, straight up. And then as I started developing my skills and like really honing in my craft, um, um, I enjoy the contractor work because it's challenging and it's both of them have like a work in progress system where, the cannabis flowers, you got to track inventory and production costs of inventory. And then, general contracting is similar but different where it's a service, but you do track like completion of the project. So it's hard and learning it has been challenging and fun. So that's how I chose those. Um, and your why and who you're choosing could be something totally different. Elijah, I think a few weeks ago was like if you or maybe it was the other guy that was in here was talking about if you want to serve Sally, like Sally Sue, all the Sally Sues in the world, go for it. Like if you want to choose a client base that has all the same name or whatever the demographic is, like just go for that fully. I know that's like pretty broad seeming, but
No,
the gist
that
is
was
there.
definitely me when I was talking about that. I was saying
Yeah.
that like it's you can choose a niche based off of an industry, you could choose a niche based off of a um mental demographic, like their belief systems of the type of avatar they are, like, Christians. Like for-profit organizations that specifically like Christians, like Chick-fil-A, and you can tell because they're not open on Sundays, you know? It's not like they're gonna not sell chicken to an atheist, but their values aren't everything they do, right? So there's nothing wrong with choosing a lane, but at the same time, you want to just make sure that you're not everything to everyone because then you're nothing to no one. That's the only thing that I would fear. And the more authentic you can be, the more you can do it with ease and you're not up late at night because you're not questioning your morals or whatever those morals may be, right? Like Abigail said that she loves serving people with who are in the cannabis industry and construction, and but her reasons why included the words fun and challenging. And anyone who gets to know Abigail knows that she enjoys fun and challenge, right? So she like will go rock climbing and gun shooting and and all the things because that's the type of person she is. So she aligns herself that way and then she goes shooting with some of her clients because there's so much alignment. And when you find that alignment for yourself and you do it inside out versus outside in, but you still take in feedback to iterate, it makes things 1,000 times easier to hitting your goal. Now, because she did that, one attorney gave her tons of people who have problems that she could solve their problem. And honestly, if I was to give one piece of advice about picking a niche, you can call it what you want. Just make sure that you are selling aspirin, not a vitamin, because people will run to stop pain. But they do not remember to take their vitamins, right? So, whatever you're choosing, choose to solve a problem, and if you can just, iterate and keep on figuring out ways to serve more effectively and efficiently, but stay in your I guess vibrational alignment with yourself, you'll have tons of success, so that's what I believe, but I also there's some evidence to that, and without going down the numbers road, Kenneth could probably figure that out and talk marketing about it, but there's definitely data that backs that stuff up. So I just like to, I believe niches get riches, right? So it's good to niche, but it's also important to iterate because sometimes you'll niche and realize I don't like this and this doesn't vibe with me, and then you should switch. There's nothing wrong with changing. But if you're just everything to everyone, then you never get to change or iterate. There's too much data to analyze.
Elijah, this is gonna sound silly, but I had never, I mean, I guess I have, but I had never correlated the fun and challenging client to the fun and challenging life that I live. So I'm gonna probably be up for a few days on all of my problems. Kenny.
All right, so I really love the fact that Elijah brought that up because my point was going to be that it should all contribute to your brand philosophy overall, right? For example, the kind of person that you are should complement your why, right? And just like your why should complement who you're targeting, right? So I would say the best advice I can give you is take the time either tomorrow over the weekend to really think about your core values, right? And how those core values can translate into what you're trying to build, right? With this bookkeeping business. And then from there, think about the kind of people that you've worked with in the past. Has that core belief resonated with them? Or is it something that you kind of need to do a little bit more digging and find that right audience for you, right? So that would be some of the best food for thought that I can give you. So hopefully it's a full plate.
I appreciate every last one of you guys for your input, your advice. I am taking it in and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Rishi.
Sorry, I was actually going to ask a question. I didn't realize we were all
No, go
responding to
for it.
Esther.
Go for it.
So I'm in a little bit of a pickle in the sense that um, the way, because I'm a systems architect, the way I built my tech stack for my, excuse me, I might be fluctuating in volume. Sorry about this. My microphone is very sensitive. The way I built it and my app and everything, it is extremely efficient, and it's bringing my infrastructure costs down by more than 99%, and I'm really not joking, more than 99% compared to startups of other sizes. Um, and one problem I've ran into, one problem I've ran into as with this is that I feel like a lot of mainstream VCs and investors who are into the, I don't know, the cash burning thing, because we are actually, our site is engineered to hit net profitability almost on day one, um, and to eventually scale up to a very high net profitability, while solving a problem. We already did the math, and it's in an Excel spreadsheet and stuff. But the question I really have is, um, how do you like, what was it? The investors I'm looking into are ones that fulfill the, traditional values, business values, such as, looking for long-term sustainability or profitability and looking to solve a major problem in the market. Like we solve a problem, like Chess Theory, my startup, solves a problem that has been, that is experienced by millions of chess players worldwide, right? People are forced to memorize chess moves in order to learn chess, but that falls apart as soon as the opponent plays a different move. It's like, oh man, I don't know what to do now. Let me just make a random move. Oh shoot, I just lost my queen. Ah, crap, I got checkmated. Right? I think many of you guys may have experienced this when you play chess. Um, so, how do I really find investors that embrace these traditional values more than, the typical venture loop? And I found like 22 investors that do this, some of whom write pretty big checks, but um and I'm trying to get a check because right now I'm working on this for free. So, yeah.
Elijah is going to be a wealth of knowledge, I believe, for you right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean I work with a lot of people in the acquisition space. And, if you're talking about pre-revenue, like VC money, I have, if you want to literally just find them, I do have a list of like 3,000 family offices I can just give you. It's like an Excel. So like finding them is, I don't think the issue. I think selling them is what really becomes the challenge for most founders. And a lot of times when a VC is listening to a pitch or an elevator pitch, they can't get bored. They really can't. They don't have time for that. They need to hear, where you're disrupting the market and what the market share is so they can see what their return on investment is. I mean, honestly, if I was you, I would spend a lot of time just watching episodes of Shark Tank on repeat because there's common themes that you hear every single time someone's presenting to an investor. And, I think when you find an investor that has not just financial monies to put in your pocket, because again, like, the deeper your purpose, the higher your profit. I know you said that you're trying to like make some money, but that's a why you should never say in front of anyone that you're trying to ask for money,
Yeah,
right?
I'm not going to
Yeah.
do that in front of
Of
the investor. That wasn't my main goal, actually.
of course, of course, of
Yeah.
course. But to answer your question, if you always lead with your why, even in this conversation, right, then it's going to be easier to connect you with the right investor. So if your why is you want to impact and disrupt the world of chess and how everyone plays it at a very high level, and I have an investor that loves chess and would be excited about that, then the connection would happen naturally and more organically. Like Nate. I know one of his goals is to scale his marketing firm, and he's excited about finding a marketing firm he can do for acquisition. I just happen to know a guy in Long Island who owns a bookkeeping and accounting and fractional CFO firm, and also used to work in the PE space, who has an actual marketing firm for sale on his website because he was on our podcast. So I connected them in an email. I don't know if Nate ever bought it, but that's like an example of how when you have a lot of alignment and clarity in your why, it's so much easier to get exactly what you're looking for. So it's kind of probably not the answer you're hoping for or looking for, but typically the best answers aren't the ones we're looking for. So but yeah, that's what I think, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's actually what I kind of expected the answer to be. You got to have a really good why and how you're disrupting the market.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard this advice from quite a few people now, actually. I really appreciate your input. And I really appreciate whoever sent that PDF.
That was me.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much. And also, Nate, I will take a look ASAP.
Rishi, I have two questions for you. Um,
Sure.
One is actually I just lost one of them. Um, if you're anticipating 99% profitability, here's the first question. Have you pitched a venture capitalist or yet? What was their feedback, if any? And then if you're anticipating 99% profitability, I'm questioning the validity of those numbers. A. But why, if that's the profitability, why do you need capital at all?
Okay, so to really answer that, number
And I'm
one,
sorry, that was like five questions. I'm
no, you're
sorry.
good, you're good. To answer your questions, to small little correction, I wasn't saying 99% net profitability. Like, oh my God, that would be crazy if that's possible. Like 99% net profitability. It is a little bit lower at 91, but it is still very high. And one main reason for that is the edge compute architecture that we're using. And edge compute means serving data as close to end users as possible. And yes, it's perfectly okay to show like to question those numbers, but me and a business contact over at Oppenheimer Bank who is helping me try to get funding has helped verify those numbers. And I'm willing to run those numbers by an investor as well if ever, if ever need be. And
Do you
number
have
two, I forgot
salaries included in that number?
yes, salaries are included in that number.
Okay.
Salaries are included in that 91% net profitability number. And it's very tough to do so because most people, technically speaking, they will go for, what is it called? They will provision in, like, over provisioning costs are insane in terms of, and pursuing, industry standard tech stacks, that's not usually going to cut it. Like, if you do that, then there's no way you're hitting a 91% net profitability because you're going to be burning money on over provisioning. But the way our tech stack is built, um, efficiency and lightweight, using Rust especially, that's how we were able to get such high net profitability numbers. Usually, of course, even if it was me, of course, I would kind of, narrow my eyebrows if I heard that. But then I have the spreadsheet to back it up with salaries, with what is it called? With our revenue calculations and payment processing calculations and stuff like that. And yeah, and I forgot, what
What
was your
about
other question?
marketing? I mean, I in 25 years of doing business with a variety of industries and service-based businesses have extremely high profitability. I've never in my life seen a business that only has 9% expense of their gross revenue. I mean, your tax bill alone is going to be 30% if it's US based
Oh,
company.
sorry, my bad. It's pre-tax. It's pre-tax right now. Taxation, but
I
I was
mean,
told to
still,
worry about
your
taxation
your
after deal.
marketing budget's gonna. I'm challenging you. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just
No
trying to
worries.
poke the bear a little bit. Um, if you don't have any revenue, so what's the purpose then of the funding? I'll circle back to that. And then have you pitched anybody and what was their feedback? So I would think that your marketing budget would have to be substantial at the beginning, and that might be what you want capital for, which is going, I mean, it's going to exceed 9% because you don't have revenue to begin with anyway. So already you're at 100% expense with zero revenue. Just challenging you. That's all.
You're good. I really appreciate the challenging. So the way we're starting out, and this is how a lot of other chess businesses started out. One of the big upsides to our business is that many chess content creators, usually, if you're looking to leverage a subject matter expert, usually people reach out to them. But people such as James Canty III or Judith Polgar, the subject of Netflix documentary Queen of Chess, she actually reached out to me, expressing interest in my mission, especially since we were trying to get rid of memorization based learning or not get rid of it, to get rid of it from the chess learning process, and instead focus on, player curiosity and creativity to help them drive their own learning of a chess opening, middle game, and end game, etc. And we were planning to use organic, video content on YouTube, Rumble, and Nebula to start us out, as well as a Patreon to have people review games. This works a lot with a lot of chess content creators will review games, and the amount, and even for smaller creators, the speed at which the Patreon will fill up with games. I've seen this firsthand with requests to review their games, or requests to review users' games, right? Is insane. So we're planning to leverage that, and it's going to be especially insane because a chess celebrity, commentator, James Canty III, who commentates the World Championships and a bunch of other stuff, is going to be helping us out quite a bit here. So we have a very good avenue to organic, what is it called? Starting out. And let's say the course platform isn't doing the greatest at the moment, right? At lower user counts, it's not going to do the greatest. Well, we have a second thing which will help us reach profitability fast, and then later on it becomes a secondary, thing, which is the Chess Academy, the coaching academy. This is how we gain our first users, and this is how, we import the students from several different coaches, and that's how we gain our first users, and then we build up our course platform to the point where it eclipses the academy in value. So those are some of the strategies we were planning on implementing.
Kenny.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I appreciate Elijah bringing up that point earlier about Shark Tank. That was one of my favorite shows growing up. And secondly, I'm no stranger to chess myself. I used to play in college, gave some people a run for their money. But I did have two questions for you, if you don't mind. So the first one was, you said you primarily plan to be on YouTube, Rumble, and Patreon. Were those going to be kind of like your primary routes for like monetization of the platform?
No, the primary monetization of the platform is going to be on the website itself, purchasing lessons or purchasing courses. Purchasing courses is going to be the main one. Purchasing, individual, purchasing coaching from a coach, which will be primary when we start up, but then later on, very quickly, the course platform will eclipse the coaching academy, the live coaching academy for income. That is going to be our main source of income. And then YouTube, Rumble, Nebula, Patreon is going to be secondary.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
This is similar to how James Canty III grew up, and now he has a lot of he makes a frick ton of income now, teaching, and as well as commentating world championships and stuff like that.
No, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say I'm definitely interested to learn more about the what you guys have built. My second question was, have you guys been able to, because it sounds like you've been able to gauge the interest of the market pretty early on. Do you guys have any projected like annual revenue at this point? Because I was gonna say, if you guys are planning on involving like a venture capitalist, you typically wanna, ramp spending up to at least 25 to like 50% of like the revenue.
Yeah, so we don't have spending to or excuse me. Um it doesn't seem like our spending is going to be 25% of our revenue, but our revenue at what is it called? Our revenue at 10K users is projected to be 125.26K right now. That's what it looks like. And our infrastructure costs are extremely low. To just to highlight just how much edge compute saves in terms of, this is from a systems architect that I'm paranoid about efficiency and what is it called? Sorry, paranoid about making a lightweight auto scaling tech stack. So we almost completely eliminate over provisioning costs. So our infrastructure at 100 users costs just $24 per month to run. At 10,000 users, just $66. 100,000, $338 per month. It's very, very, very low because of the technology that we're using. We're able to save that much. I can go over it with you, but
Yeah, no, I
that
mean
would
that's
be,
definitely something I would love to
yeah,
follow up on for sure. Because I know
yeah.
using Superbase usually keeps costs down a lot.
We're not using Supabase at all. We actually are using embedded databases backed up to Cloudflare R2.
Oh wow. Yeah.
REDB plus LMDB. That lowers the database lookup time to mere microseconds, and it's completely free. And database backups happen by sending database files to Cloudflare R2 once every 10 minutes. And if the database file is older than 1 day, getting rid of it so it doesn't clog up our database backup.
Okay. I'm definitely understanding a little bit better now for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. My information's in the chat. Feel free to schedule a coffee chat for sure.
My
absolutely. I
understanding
would
went
love to.
this way. Kenny's went this way. I wanted to circle back with you. What is the capital for that you're looking for?
So we're looking for capital to, well, we've got a couple of goals here. So number one, um, one of my business partners and my chess coach who came up with some of the ideas for the startup for how we're going to leverage decision-based learning instead of forced memorization for our chess platform, something that's never been done before. Um, he is trying to get to the US because he is a brilliant coach. He has insights on the chess scene that I've gone coaching from a lot of people, and this man is insane. The amount that he analyzes, better even than some world chess commentators. So I'm trying to get him to the U.S. to be able to assist the business a little bit better and to be able to help out with lessons and to be more stable. But right now he's living on pennies. He's living on pennies in Brazil, and it's not working out the greatest for him. So one goal is to try and get him to the US. The second goal for us, for us specifically, is to be able to get our AI assisted coding workflow, not vibe coding. I think there's a difference. AI assisted engineering versus vibe coding. That's a different topic. Um, I'm trying to get that workflow off of the off of centralized cloud compute. So taking our AI assisted coding costs down to zero. So being able to acquire a workstation and a microphone in order to record the audio and video for the courses on our course platform, especially the courses that I'm releasing on the chess course platform on chess openings, middle games, and end games. Um, that's another capital expenditure, and that's it for now. That's it for now, but also there might be some other ones. Oh yeah, I'm trying to move out as well. I'm trying to move
Um,
out to my own apartment.
I would
Would
suggest
be a great.
repackaging those because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be myself, which is a very direct and very blunt person. Nobody gives a shit where either of you live. However, uh, an investor is interested in whether or not you and your founding partner are going to be taking a salary that is reasonable, and that should be part of your, which is why I think that the 9% expense margin is way too low, way too low. 30% of your gross receipts should be wages between you and your partner at least. So you should increase that because I think a couple red flags. One, 9% cost would be a red flag. You got to find other expenses. You got to be missing something. And wages are clearly
Mm-hmm.
missing in there. If both of you are looking for capital to leave your living situation, that means to me that you haven't factored your salaries in. And two, I mean, if that being said, you can't be looking for a whole lot of money either. I mean, a ticket out of Brazil and a, you know, security deposit on a new apartment is not a whole lot of money. Neither, I mean, and a very expensive computer is like a couple grand. for a high performing one, I mean, I can't imagine like
Yeah,
five on
that
the
sounds like
high
more like a
end.
personal loan that you would need than a venture
Yeah,
capitalist with those numbers, you know? Um,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think you could pay someone 8 to 12% or go to SoFi.com and solve that problem, you know? I don't think
yeah.
you need a venture
Okay.
capitalist for those goals.
Rishi, if you email me directly, I would be happy to look at the spreadsheet that you've put together for projections if you wanted.
Oh
No,
yeah,
like
absolutely, no
no
problem.
cost to you or anything, just give you my feedback on it to help see if you can maybe raise more money or again, I think
Yeah.
Elijah would be a good person to reach out to as well because he could at least help you fund yourself. If your profitability is that high, you should be able to fund yourself.
Yeah, it's probably way too early to give up any. I don't recommend ever giving away equity
Mm,
pre-revenue unless you have super strong IP. And it sounds like your proof of concept and your revenue comes from subscriptions. So I would just get, business loans, business lines of credit, business credit cards even, you can get a Chase card for
Mm-hmm.
50K and probably solve 90% of these problems, run ads, ramp up, hit all your goals and be at like, with your numbers, the way you talk about it, like 50K MRR, And if you want to start giving away equity when you're doing 500,000 in revenue and say you are doing, let's call it 80% project profit margin because you actually are paying yourself in taxes, right? And other
Mm-hmm.
expenses that we're not thinking about that exist in the world if it's an American company. Then from there, you're still undervaluing yourself, in my opinion, right? Because your valuation at that point, I mean, yes, SaaS has a higher multiple. Maybe you're talking like a 10 or 20x multiple because it's a SaaS company and you have subscriptions. But I would still rather you be at like 2 million annually at least, first, and then think about, okay, now I'm gonna, go ahead and ask for capital to get to 100, or get to 10 or whatever. A lot of times they'd rather take a mid-market company anyways, which is a $20 million enterprise company to invest in. But if you really are like, I think you can get a personal loan, honestly, to get to where you want to go and a couple business credit cards and be fine. And then just scale from there and
Mm.
then decide when you want to have investors come in and have them come in and not give up the barn, give up less and keep more and make more, right? So
Okay,
those
that
are my
makes
thoughts.
sense. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. At lower user counts, we are much lower than 90%. I do realize I may have thrown you guys off with that. At lower user counts, it's much lower than 90%, but it eventually scales up to 90%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At higher user counts, and we're talking about 1
Your
million, 10
expenses
million,
don't
and 100
increase when
million.
your user count increases that much. So
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
your salary should scale with that though.
Yeah,
Salary does scale with that. Yeah.
yeah, because
Then you,
that would be a part of your expenses. But the other part
yeah.
of it is also if you want to think of it from like an investor standpoint, if they bought 100% of your company, you're gone. So they need to have a reasonable salary to replace you. So if the work you do is $250,000 a year work, you might only salary yourself 60K if you're filed as an S corporation because you want to save some money on taxes. And if you're filing yourself only, Abigail knows what I'm talking about, right? Because if you're filing only 60K, you're doing that because you're saving money on taxes because you're the owner, and some owners treat their business like an ATM, unfortunately. So,
That's
so
that's not good. Yeah.
yeah, I know, but it's common, right? So, and these are the
Yeah.
things that they look at when they're auditing how do I invest? They look at it just like buying a company, whether I'm buying it in full or I'm buying 10% or 1%, and they're usually going to put themselves in a position to utilize what's called earned in equity to move the needle even further because they have some expertise that you're missing, right? Because obviously we're all business owners, we're all good at the widget, but we have blind spots. Not like we're not all great at marketing and advertising and chief executive and HR and sales. Like no one's great at everything, right? But when
Mm-hmm.
PE is looking at your business, they're looking at what you're not good at and what filling those gaps would add value to. And then seeing if they can replace what you do at least at 80% tick. Like, are your SOPs good enough where someone else can do what you do? And then they just pay that person $250,000, or whatever it is. And again, that's all going to eat into that. So I was talking to someone who's on our pod the
Mm.
other day. She's a business valuation, certified business valuator. And she was talking about like the three different ways that she does valuations for business because she does them for like divorces and estate. So she has to go on trial to actually say this is the value, just in case like someone tries to litigate or sue. And when they're looking at these valuations, this is something that what you're talking about is EBITDA. You're talking about earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. That's how you're defining your earnings, which is the right way to define them when you're talking to private equity. However, they will adjust that EBITDA for a reasonable salary for someone to replace you because the value has less value if you are the linchpin of that business. If you can like go on
Uh,
vacation for a year and revenue goes up and stays the same or better, then it's a better business to buy. So these are the nuances that matter but again, I really think you're just at the personal loan, business credit card space right now when it comes to where you're at. But if you are thinking long term like that, those are some food for thought. And like Kenny would say, I hope you got a full plate.
Very well
okay,
said.
gotcha.
Yeah, I was gonna say just to throw my 2 cents in there. I might have a connection in there, like if you're specifically looking for like a personal loan to start, or to start that growth that you're talking about. So yeah, I would be happy to make that connection for you. And also passing the ball to Gary, I saw he had his hand raised. I got you.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
I was just curious, has anyone actually paid you to do this yet? Do you have any subscribers, anyone who's actually paid you to use this system?
No, not yet, but I have free users right now. I have free users because we only have one demo course on how to stop the four move checkmate, and a couple of users have played through that and gave pretty positive feedback.
So I could be way out in left field here, but before I ever went to try and get any kind of loan or venture capital, I would test the theory that people will actually pay me for this. I would get some paid subscriptions first.
Okay, sounds good.
Just, it sounds like the product has some great viability potential, but the market's going to be the people who tells you whether or not they find value in it. And I would test that theory before I went into debt in any way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
Okay, sounds good.
I support that too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This was fun. I hope you all had fun too. Rishi, thanks for hearing us all out too. And
Yeah.
Lorraine.
That was good feedback.
Yeah, I hope you come back next week too. We love talking about this stuff. So if you hit a new milestone and you want to share something different, like let's go. Let's talk about
Mm,
it.
sounds good. I wanted to also mention very quickly, I was actually looking for alternative you know, not the mainstream, VC stuff. I was looking at IndieVC. Have you guys heard of Bryce Roberts? Ooh, I would definitely look up who Bryce Roberts is in IndieVC because that's the path I'm trying to go for right now, or at least that's what I was trying to go for. In fact,
What
I'm
is it?
yeah,
IDBC?
IndieVC. So let me put it in the chat. Now, Bryce Roberts, he
Oh,
started IndieVC
IndieVC. Okay.
a long time ago. He funded Codecademy, Fastly, and a bunch of other, and Figma and a bunch of companies at their inception as OATV. And then later on, he had to close the fund. So I would actually recommend searching up IndieVC 2.0. Let me put that in the chat. So this is the standalone fund that Bryce Roberts started in 2023, and he funds businesses that solve a big market problem, but which also don't go into the typical venture burning paper valuation route. They go for the long-term sustainability and profitability route. So that's the route I was actually coming from, optimized for. It's a
I
pretty
think I'm getting
interesting.
the
I found
wrong.
this when I saw this, I was like pretty interested. Wait, they're not going for a paper valuation, they're going for actual organic. Like, how does that work? And then I researched, I was blown away. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. Facts and vibes. All right, Kenny.
Oh, yeah, it's about that time. I was gonna throw a little bit more salt on it. A little bit more seasoning. I was
Go
just
for
gonna
it.
say, Elijah's absolutely right. You know, doing some A/B testing, right? Kind of feeling out the market. Like you yourself as a chess player, you have a pretty good insight into the target market, right? People who might be playing competitively, right? They have a tournament coming up. They're kind of trying to wrap their head around strategies their, opponents might employ, things like that. Um, so yeah, I would say definitely just try to the same advice that I gave to Lorraine, or was it the other young lady who was on here? But yeah, try to think more about the experience, right? More so than the technical aspect of it, right? Because you had to think about how to appeal to the emotion, the psychographic, the ethos, right? Or the pathos, I should say, of the intended audience. Right? Put yourself in their shoes, not only from a mental standpoint, but emotionally, right? How would they feel looking at this platform, signing up for these classes, right? Which is all part of that testing aspect. So just again, that's the fries on the side to the meal.
Okay. That's
For
yeah,
the
that's very
Old
good
Bay
advice.
seasoning on the fries, I think is what you're going for, Kenny.
Right.
Sorry. Right. Yeah.
There you got it. But with that said, everybody, our quote from this week comes from Indra Nooyi, who says, "The basics of business is to stay as close as possible to your customers. And the best way to do that is to be your own customer. Understand your behavior, understand your preferences, your patterns, and vice versa. You will understand theirs."
Elijah,
That
thank you for
said,
sharing your podcast.
yeah, I appreciate that too, Elijah.
Also, I don't know who got the emergency join the Zoom calls, texts, and emails yesterday. But at first I was like, who the heck is this? And then I was like, it has to be Elijah. Those were great. Kenny, thank you. Another word I want to add to the chat before we go is ontology. It's something, a word someone's been using a lot around me lately, and it is I'm just going to read the definition. Uh, Set of concept and categories in a subject area or domain that shows their properties and relations between them, or branch of metaphysics dealing with the nature of being. So it's a good word for your niche too. Anyway, we're here every week, same Zoom link, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and more or less the last 8 months of recordings are up on Spotify and YouTube. If you just search like either Business Incubation or Old Woods on Spotify, you'll find them. Um, Otherwise, I hope to see you all next week. This is great. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, you guys. Thank you so
Have a
much.
good night.
So nice to meet you.
Yeah, Rishi, it was a pleasure. Thank you for joining. Lorraine, Lavinia, and all the familiar faces. I always appreciate you guys. And
Thank
yeah, I'll
you.
see you when I see you.
Yeah.
Will do.
Bye. Thank you for having
Oh,
me.
wait, one
It was
second.
very
Kenneth
interesting.
and
Yeah.
Kenneth, do you have an email that I can reach out to you by? Or
Absolutely. Yeah, my info's up there in the chat.
okay, let me take a look. 1 second.
I think you both joined at the same time. I'm going to stop the recording.
Yeah, I'll